So welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be doing a basin installment in this downstairs toilet or basement toilet. This is my toilet in the house that I live in. We bought this house about 3 or 4 years ago and it was quite dated. The tiling was very 70s, early 80s type tiles, biscuity, you know, the type of thing, you know, those of a certain generation will understand what I'm talking about. And we had a chocolate brown toilet. I've replaced the toilet already, done a few bits and pieces, basically with materials that I've had left over from jobs. So it's been done on a budget, which is why most toilets like this are done on a budget, because it's not really used like a bathroom. It's not a feature, but however we're getting into this, when you come to sell your house, you want it to look more presentable and things like that. So today we're going to be fitting a sink basin. Now this one's come with a set of taps, so normally when you buy basins you have to buy taps separately. So we have a tap set here to put on it, and we have a waste as well, which is interesting. And there's the waste in that box, and this is the sink. So it's a lot smaller than an average sink, as you can see. You don't have as much space in a toilet this size. Be fitted to here at the side, so we're going to be obviously moving the camera to do that. But one thing it didn't come with was the fixing kit. Some sinks don't come with them, some do. So you do have to buy fixing kits and everything separately. I'll go get that in a minute and show you what we're going to do. So I'm going to get some stuff out of the van, and hopefully we'll get this installed today and working, so we can use the bathroom and then we can crack on with the decorating. So more or less set up for the first bit of this. Now I couldn't find any masking tape, so I've had to use this. I've probably got some somewhere, but all I could find was my drop cloth, so I've made a few strips on there, and this is just simply just to mark it out on the wall. I'm hoping I've put enough on there. The sink is quite wide. Oh, by the way, this is a fixing kit for fixing sinks. As you can see, the basin there. So that's what you get in the pack: a long bolt, a plug and a plastic washer, and it gives you comprehensive instructions there on basically how to fit it. So it should just open like that, but in this case not today. It's not happening. Typical. That's a nice sealed thing. So these are pretty substantial. They'll go in the wall there and there, roughly, and that's a substantial 14mm plug. So I'll have to find a drill bit big enough for that. The first things first is to get the sink on the wall. Now what we're going to do is just offer it up first. That's roughly where I want it, maybe a little bit lower, and all I'm doing is levelling this up with the tiles. The tiles should be level, but you do need to level the bolts up. And basically we're just going to take a mark, find the holes first. Over here is one here, and basically just run your pencil at the top edge of the hole and just make a mark somewhere. It does help if you've got two of you. Like that. So we have I didn't think I'd have enough masking tape on there once a thing, so I'm just going to add a bit more, roughly there. I can see the mark on the wall, so I'm just going to do that. just to get an idea of where the holes are. So the next thing you need to do is to level up the holes. Need to level up the marks with a level, obviously. So I also have one of these rulers which is also level, and it has these little slidey bits on it, which is great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line that one up there, and should give me a rough idea where the sink is, the sink holes are, and then I'm going to get the sink and I'm going to line the holes up. So here's the sink here. So what we're going to do is basically get this to the edge of the sink where it needs to be, which is there, and then you line these up with the holes so you get them more or less central. So you can see what I'm doing there, can't you? Lining that up, it's at the edge of the sink, lining it up with the holes in the sink, and then when you get to where you need to mark, holding it against the wall, and also because you've got a level actually on, you've got a level there, it's just hiding a little bit behind there now, so I'm going to have to mark these out first and then level it up. So we know that V there, and there's also a hole there where it should be central, so we know that that's more or less central now. So we'll mark there, and then using the level, so I'm going to move that now because we know where the mark is. Using the level on there, we can level the holes up when we drill them. So there we go. We know that this is now level. And it's obviously landed awkwardly on a tile. Now these are really thin tiles as well, so I have to be careful when drilling into them. Yeah, I have some quite interesting drills. These have got like points on the end, so they should pierce the tiles and get a nice neat hole. I'm going to start with a small one first and then work it way up. Now there's a couple of ways of drilling. There's one, you could use your vacuum with this attachment and just hold it on, but because I've put this on now, it's probably going to be a hindrance, but this will catch the dust now anyway. So the masking tape that I couldn't find is here and now we've found it, so we're going to reutilise it and do something clever. If you don't have one of these attachments for your back, then you just simply make a dust pocket like that, and that will catch the dust. So this is an SDS drill, and the settings on it are hammer and drill, and you can just use your hammer action for chipping away. So we're just going to set it on drill, no hammer action, and this has got the drill bit for plugs that we need, which is a 14mm. It's quite big. We're just going to So this was always going to be the danger with drilling into a tile, especially one this thin. I mean, these are extremely thin tiles, but the sink will cover that, so I'm not too concerned about that. What I didn't want was cracks going up the tiles, so obviously, yeah, it's a bit disappointing that happened, but it is really one of the natures of the job. When you're drilling into tiles, you've got to go through a process of doing it. So we can actually remove this now, especially when you're fitting one of these kits now. Just look at the tile. It is a thin tile that. They are very cheap tiles, these. Again, like I said, a lot of the materials have just come off other jobs, and this was a box of tiles that I bought for a customer and they didn't want them. They did pay me for them, so it wasn't lost, but it's kind of like where we're going to use black tiles again, kind of thing. So, wouldn't have looked good all done in tiles with black tiles, so I just did this section in it. You can probably see the original tile. So basically all I've done is plasterboarded over the top of these tiles and then skimmed it, and then obviously tiled it. So yeah, so these are the plugs that are going in. You can see the heavy duty, again taking very good care not to damage the tiles anymore. I'm really glad that the sink is going to cover all that up, because we'd be in a lot of trouble otherwise. So these are what go in. Now it's a good idea just to put the little bolts on. I mean the nuts, just put them on like that. And just give them a little tap so they go a little bit further in. You want the plugs to be just a little bit under the surface of the tile, and the reason for that is, again, if you put the plug in level with the tile, when the plug's expanding, when the screw's going in, it can quite often crack the tile further. So you know, you've got to be conscious of that. I need another spanner now, so the ones I've got don't fit, so I'll get some more spanners. So I've got a good selection of spanners here. These are Sealer Premier spanners, come in a UV, not a UV, the PVU foam holder, and I think this will be an 8mm if I'm not correct. Yeah, maybe not. 7. Yeah, so it's 7. So you just wind it in and drop it like you do. Might be alright though. So once you've done that, it's a good idea to offer your sink up. Make sure it's right. Take the nuts off, of course, first. So there you get the idea. So what we need to do now, you can cut these down if you need to. If you are going to cut them down, make sure you put the nut on first. Cut your thread and then take your nut off. That will make sure that the thread isn't burred at the end. I don't think I need to cut them down. I'd rather have that little bit of length on them. Start fitting your bits and pieces to the sink before you put it on the wall. In some respects it's easier. Now on a sink like this, you can get to it quite easily from underneath. So just to explain how a waste works. I've heard people say don't put silicone on them, and most tradespeople, plumbers, will put silicone on these. Simple reason, it stops it coming down the thread, the water. The reason for that is, you probably can't see this, but there is a hole there which directs the water from the overflow down through this hole here and into the hole here. So this section of it allows the water to run away if it overflows. Now, what I generally do is put some silicone around there. Now you have to be careful when doing that, because one or two things will happen. Either the sink will collapse and crack, or you will strip the thread on the plastic. Note here, this is metal, this is plastic. This has got more resistance than the plastic. The plastic will strip on the nut, the threads will strip if you over tighten it. So you want the right amount of pressure. Now if you buy a cheap sink or a thin sink and you tighten this too much, the whole porcelain and everything could crack, so you have to be careful. I've seen that happen quite a few times. I've only ever done it once myself when I was younger and naive, but there you go. Right, so I can fit both of them through the hole. Blue, red spot, blue on the right, red on the left. Generally speaking, the tails are coloured, so that's a red and blue, so you know which is which. So we just attach those in the correct places. So these are what's called box spanners, and you can pick them up. They usually come in a set of 3 with different size spanner nuts, nut spanners, 11mm, 10mm, so you've got your 11 at that side, 10 at that side, and so on. 9 and 11 on that one, 8 and 9 on this one, and I think that's the one I need. You can tell I don't use this one much, but that's what these are for. And and they sometimes do come with a bar, but finding that bar when you need it is always difficult. Again, make sure you get a certain amount of tightness on these. Don't over tighten them, you will crack the sink if you don't, not careful. But you also make sure you get them tight enough that the taps don't slide about. I have put some silicone on the top of the tap because these seals that they provide are never really that good. And the water can drip down from the sink down the pipework, and it'll look like you've got a leak on your pipework. So a little bit of silicone never hurt anybody. And then just wipe it off. With some of these wipes are great for doing this. You just get rid of all the silicone, and that will give you a nice tight seal. It will also stop the tap sliding about as well, so it will hold the tap in place and gives you an extra cushion for the tap to sit on, so you basically seating the tap correctly. So the next thing you need to do, now you've got all your bits and pieces on it, is more silicone. Some rounding fixings here. Then just to make sure you have a good cushion. Now this is clear silicone. Clear silicone is a good adhesive, and all we're doing is making sure that the sink doesn't rattle around on the surface, and it gives you a nice cushion as well. So that when it's up against the tiles you're not giving it any reason to crack them again. So just move the camera around slightly so we can see what we're doing. You put these on first. Need to pull it out a little bit sometimes. Again, getting that one. So there we go. That was a 17mm nut that's on there, and as you can see, tightened them up there and there, and I just put the level on and adjusted it as I was tightening it up to make sure it's level. You can move them slightly, these sinks, on the brackets, should I say, the fixing kit, so you get it nice and level. So the next thing you need to do is set up your pipework. Now most of these sinks come with flexible connectors, but as you can see that one doesn't reach, that one does reach, so that one's the easiest one. because that's the hot one. So I'll just tail onto that, nice and easy. So what we've done here is basically extended the pipe a bit and put a elbow on it. It just needed a little bit of to get it onto there, so we just put that on for now so we could test it. Might adjust the pipe work later. I do have to box all this in anyway, so I might adjust this, but to get it working for today, just gonna do that. It feels quite solid. So the next thing to do is the waste. Now we're going to remove this. Not even going to reuse it. Got a new one. Please make sure the bottom's tight before you put it on. You should have one of these that goes down the top like so. Make sure that the rubber washer is flat and no twists in it, no silicone. With your fingers just tighten it up a little bit so you can move it around a bit. So you do have this piece here and plastic washer and a note, but we'll get to that in a minute. So what we need to do is put that elbow on. Like there. So we're going to box this in at some point. We need to get the sink working, so new piece of pipe. So the waste only needs to be hand tight, these only need to be hand tight. You've got no water pressure in there, these are push fits, so very easily to remove. Turn the water on and hopefully we'll have no leaks. I don't think we have. So here we go with the first test, and there we go, running water. So it's always best to leave the plug in first and then just release the water. And that way you'll know if there's any leaks, because it puts a bit of pressure on. Make sure your hot's running. It's nice and hot, cold. Good idea to let it run up to the overflow as well. Check that. There you go, it's running away, you can hear it trickling away. And again another test. So all that's left to do now is run some silicone on back there and we're sorted. So there we go, that is the sink fitted. Silicone the back edge there and come down the sides as well. Just makes it look a lot neater when you've done. So just to run you back through it, position your sink, get it where you want to put it, mark your holes, level them up, fix your fixing kit in, start putting your things on your bowl, your sink bowl, once you've got it all in the right position and everything. Don't forget to use a bit of silicone just to help seal it up. Silicone the back of the sink so it gives it a nice cushion against the tiles. It will also stop it jiggling about. Once you're satisfied that everything's right, your taps and everything, get it all attached to the thing, tighten the nuts up. Don't over tighten them, you don't want to crack the sink, you don't want to dislodge tiles, you don't want to be cracking tiles at this stage. Get all your plumbing sorted out underneath, connect your waste, give it a test and you're good to go. So there you go, hope you enjoyed the video, hope you got something out of it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Big thank you to everybody who's doing so far, and I'll catch you in another video soon. Thanks for watching.